Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Happy Monday. Welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I am your host, Janice Carter Miller. And today, the conversation is about all things KSU Thorobreds in the house. Yes, homecoming week. I am so excited. I think everyone else is too, especially my classmates, because I'm an OG thoroughbred. This is our 50th class in reunion. And I have been in touch with so many classmates, and everyone is getting their ducats all lined up in a row because there's plenty to do, a lot to see, and we're looking forward to seeing each other. Just imagine, we came out of high school in 1968. And in 1968, those graduating classes, oh, they were all that. You know, most of us were the first in our families to go to college. And at that time, Kentucky State did a mass open enrollment where out-of-state students were charged probably about the same thing that in-state students were charged. So Kentucky State was very diverse. Chicago, DC, Detroit, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Texas. So it just was not people from Louisville. So you can get that straight. I went to school with a very diverse crowd of students and classmates. And I think it's probably still a little bit like that today. But I'm going to tell you somebody who knows better than myself. I'm going to present to some and introduce to others the national president of the Kentucky State University Alumni Association, Mr. Richard Graves.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. How you doing, Janice?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening on your program and share with you my little bit of knowledge of Kentucky State. After your introduction of the class of 1972, it just tells me I'm just a little drop in the bucket compared to the history that you and your classmates did. And I
My
always believe
classmates are awesome.
they sure are. You all have set a legacy at Kentucky State that is second to none. And you got to keep in mind that in 1972, what you all did then is what we're living for today. You all were a generation of students that stood up. You all had to let everyone know that you were somebody. You all said it very particular. Say it loud. Y'all were
I'm
that
black and
and
I'm proud.
proud.
All right, that's right. Shoot,
So
you couldn't tell us we weren't at the best school in the country.
no, you couldn't. And you all let everyone know that. And your kids, your generations, and the people behind you, you all set the standards. If you went to Kentucky State, and if there was when you left Kentucky State, if there was a moon up there, the class of 72 hung it. And you better believe it. And
Wow.
that was the challenge. That's the thing that the stage that you all set. And to this day, we still have students with that type of belief in their heart and in their mind. Because, prior to 1968 and those years, we were not supposed to be admitted. We were supposed to be someone else. You got to keep in mind, 1964, women just had the rights to vote.
Right.
And, we were going around trying to get our foot in, but you all led the fight. You led the challenge. So that's the great thing about the class of 1972. And I'll be talking about more of that this coming week at my introduction. But you heard it first here. And that's how we
Wow.
respect you all. We all believe. And
Well,
thank
I
you.
mean, I'm just a little overwhelmed here, Richard, that you hold us in such high esteem. But I'm going to tell you, I give myself benchmarks in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, I said, if it does not measure up to my 4 years at Kentucky State,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't happening too tough.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right,
Because those friends that I made then are still my friends today.
right, right.
You
And that's
know,
one and that's one of the things about an HBCU, a historically black
yeah,
college, particular Kentucky State University. And I say that because if you look at our history and you look at the things that what we had to, what you all came through, that gave us hope to know that everything's going to be okay. You just have to apply yourself. You just have to work a little bit harder. We had some of the same professors, the Cheneys, the Gus Ridgels, the folks that the A.W. Wrights, the folks that were there that were committed to the
Dr.
cause of
X.
right. Dr. Exum,
Ooh,
and these are the people that taught us and trained us, and this is what we come from. So therefore, we know better. So
yes.
that's one of the greatest things about our legacy from Kentucky State.
It's like when you know better, you do better.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know, we went off to school, but we didn't know that we were being sent to school with a group of professors that would love us like we were their nieces and nephews,
Hmm.
and that would check you. I'm telling you, we still had fear in our hearts
And
as far as our teachers went.
right. Well, that was the respect.
Ah,
And because that's what it started from your homes,
yeah, yeah,
and your parents told you. My mother told me, don't let me have to come down there. Now here I am, 18 years old, thinking I'm grown and no, but you did not. It was just that's just the way they were. And I say it today. And a lot of my professors have passed on. Dr. Ridger was the last one who passed a couple of years ago during the COVID. But I say this today as president to the faculty and staff. If your students don't come back at homecoming and visit you, you didn't do something right.
yeah.
And that's how we were because we went back, and I guarantee you at homecoming, you went and visit your professors.
Right.
These people who you thought were so hard, so rough, so tough on you, but you learned that it was a matter of they were preparing you. And that's one of the greatest things about homecoming at a historically black college and at Kentucky State University.
You know, the experience. And I tell as often as I can when I can share my experience of going to an HBCU, because it's almost indescribable. But I'm going to tell you one thing: I have never asked or had a conversation with anyone, younger, older, that went to Kentucky State that didn't have the same experience.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
I've never heard somebody say, I hated going to Kentucky State.
Right.
I have never run into that.
Right.
That's
Well,
rare.
and I have to constantly remind everyone that we are Kentucky State is more than just our alma mater.
Right.
It is our family.
Yes.
And when you start understanding that we all come very green, very open, but we get an education. You mentioned earlier about the diverse folks that were around you, and we still have that. We have people from Mississippi, Alabama, Maryland, Detroit, everyone from different backgrounds,
Right.
and you got to learn whether you believe it or not. If you ever study any bit of anthropology, you'll see that there are cultural differences just in certain size of certain cities that you believe in, that you live in. So you see people with different backgrounds. I never forget I was in and at Kentucky State, and a lot of my friends that were living in Florida.
Richard, what year were you there?
I graduated in 81. I got
Okay.
there in 76.
Okay. Okay.
And a lot of my friends were from Florida. And I didn't realize that they went home for Christmas break. They had jobs. They picked oranges, and we were laughing at them. But that was the orange
Excuse
season
me.
is December.
Right. Okay.
And here we are in the Midwest, up here in Indianapolis. it's cold and freezing. We outside, and they down there picking oranges, and they're coming back to school all buffed up and look like they've been lifting weights. They've been lifting orange crates and
Wow.
carrying on because that was their Christmas job, and they worked and they planned, and that's how they helped pay for their education. So, but you learned a lot from people from different areas, and
Absolutely.
that's what
I
you love.
mean, I lived 50 miles. I'm in Louisville, and I lived 50 miles away from home. I never came home on the weekends.
We,
I went to Memphis, Tennessee,
mhm, uh-huh.
or I went to somebody else's home, someplace else. Why would I want to come home?
And that's
My mother was saying, "When you coming home?" I said, "I don't know. Christmas."
uh, well, and that was the fun of it because you met. It's sort of like you go to college, a lot different than high school.
Yeah.
You grow up with and you learn challenges. You have several things. You meet your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you have your
Your
first
husband, your
confrontation,
wife.
your husband, your wife, all
Mhm.
those things that you think are the most important thing. You go through those challenges in life right there at the university. And there's always someone there that's trying to advise you and direct you, whatever. But you that becomes your family. Like I said,
Right.
it's not just my alma mater. It is my family. It is my and I protect it. I love it. People ask me today that you work so hard as the national alumni president and don't get paid for it. I said no, it's not a paid position, but it's
Mhm.
a position that if you can make your environment a little more stronger than it was before you entered it. And that's what you try to do as the president of the organization is go back, help, give back, because a whole lot of people at Kentucky State helped me get where I am today. I generally tell the story about Mrs. Joan Bishop. She's passed on, but I went to high school, and as a high school student, um, they passed me, and I was just everything A's and whatever. Didn't think no more about it. When I got to Kentucky State, I never forget. Mrs. Bishop called me. I wrote a paper. I'm playing around with some guys. We're freshmen. She walked down the hall. She didn't say it in an embarrassing way. She said, "Come here, Graves. Come here." Took me in her office. She said, "Let me tell you something. Look at this paper." She said, "Don't nothing on here agree." And I looked at her. She said, "Your subjects and verbs have to agree." Mrs. Bishop took time out of her daily schedule and taught me how to make sure that I was writing and enunciating words and grammar was flowing. She said, "You have to be," she said, "I see it in you already because you
Mhm.
love to run your mouth. And so you have to produce it correctly." And when you take that and you look back on it and you look at the published information that I have out there, and you look at the manuals that I've done. I've trained overseas with the Center for the Disease and Control. I've worked in the medical industry as a certified diabetic educator. I'm an entrepreneur. The things that got me there, this was my foundation. So the passion of it, the drive of it is I have to help someone else up.
Yeah.
And that's what an HBCU is all about. We reach back and we make sure the other Richard Graves that didn't have a Joan Bishop, they have a Richard Graves to pull them up.
Right.
They didn't have a Dr. Slade or Henry Cheney, but they got a Janice Carter to reach back and say, "Hey, we're going to help this next child." And so that's why we do the things that we do. And homecoming is more than just a party; it is a party with a purpose,
Right.
and
Say a party with a purpose. All right.
and, and that's how we set it up. We give back. You and the classes in their class reunion. All the classes this year at Kentucky State are in reunion from the in 7 and 2. The ones that are ending in two are ending in either 50, 40, 30 years. The ones that are ending in seven are on the fives, 25, 45, 35, and all the way up to 2012.
Mm-hmm.
What we do every year is we ask everyone that for every year you've been separated is to bring $10 back per year. And that's our goal as they bring back. So the class of 1972, they will come with their, every individual comes with their 500. The class of
Right.
1982, they'll come with their 400 and so forth and so forth because we raise that money to go into our permanent alumni scholarship that
Okay.
helps other kids. And this year at homecoming, we will honor about 13 kids who received scholarships from $1,000 up to $1,800 from our endowment of our
Mm-hmm.
permanent alumni scholarship. So anyway, that's a little bit about what we do at homecoming. When I say party with a purpose, that's the direction that we're going this year. The need is there, and we have a lot of
Absolutely.
needs and a lot of kids. Um, we have been fortunate enough and to live through our lives and set the paths and the trails. Now we have to make sure that the paths are available for other
For
students.
others. Yes.
And despite what people think, we still have a lot of first generations. Kentucky,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky State University, and you can shut me up at any time because I get to going on.
No, no,
And
no,
talking
no,
about my
no. This is
university.
look. I told you, however long we talk about KSU is however long we talk about it, because
But
the network cannot pull the plug on me.
okay, well, our school and our students are
Excuse me,
very unique.
Jack. Excuse me. Take this, please. Thank you, sir. All right. Our school is very unique, and I listened to. I was watching the making of America. You know, I'm a Henry Louis Gates fan,
Right. Okay.
and we were talk. He was talking about the grapevine, and 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 you look at our educators, that how educated when you go back into the late 19th century. Okay,
Right. Right.
how look at us as a people who were enslaved,
Right.
and
Right.
how we rose to heights of educating ourselves.
Right.
And, you know, they showed about a black woman who taught all these other kids that were slaves because they weren't supposed to be taught.
Right.
And
Right.
it was just stories. Miss Peel was her name. I started to
Okay.
say, I don't know if she kin to Willie Peel or not. But,
Uh,
you know, ancestry is a wonderful thing.
right. Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, and it's just, I think about Dr. Exum. Dr. Exum was elegant,
Right.
some, I mean, brilliant. And when
Right.
he spoke, when we came into his classroom, we didn't have no chitter chatter when you sat down. We
Right.
said, because this was kinesiology,
Right.
human anatomy, and
Right.
physiology. So when
Right.
you came into class, you needed to be wide awake
Uh-huh. There you go.
when
There you
Dr.
go.
Exum spoke, you know.
Well, and you have to understand that our professors, when we talk about Dr. Exum in particular, here's the man, the first African American to be a head coach, a managing coach in the US Olympics. And people don't understand how important that was. They don't understand that some of these folks running that building, Exum Center, every day
Right.
with a picture of him there, and they don't take moment to think about the legacy of why they walk it in there. Why is it named Exum? They
Right.
don't understand that Dr. Exum, when I got there, I think he retired the next year or 2 years after, the soft spoken man, but
Oh,
he
yes.
was he was a nature who understood track and field. He understood the dynamics of plyometrics to get athletes to perform and to do things that were exceptionally unknown. And he had to break all types of color barriers.
Color berries,
You
yeah.
know, we you look at the Jesse Owens story, but can you imagine and understand what Tommy Lee and them in the Olympics in 1968, when they held their fists up in the
Right.
air, what they were going through? Well, Dr. Exum was there. He was their coach. He was there, and he
I didn't know
understood.
he was their coach.
He was yes, he was their process. This is the history that people don't understand, that how great that we are. Every student athlete that come through Kentucky State University need to always want to give back, need to always want to understand. They need to make sure that that building that shrines that man's name is so polished. I was in Louisville uh, 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, when Dr. Exum was inducted postmortemly into the Kentucky
Kentucky
Hall of
Hall of
Fame.
Fame. Hmm.
And these are the things that where you start learning and you read the history and you understand what we do and what goes on. And that's why I say our homecomings are more than just a party. It is more than it's a party with a purpose. Yes, we have a good time. Yes, we dressed up all warm. You can smell barbecue, fish fried on the tailgate city.
Right.
You can see Greeks over there. You see the sororities over there stepping, the fraternities chanting, and all that, the band booming, and you see the majorettes running out on the floor, the K-rets, and that's our flair. But you also see Black American united as one, excited because these are the people that we grew up with. These are the people that we've had our experience with when mama was not there and daddy was not
Yeah.
there. And the only thing they could send us was their prayers because they did not have nothing else to send but that. But it was our friends that picked us up and said, "Come on, here's a sandwich, or come on with me."
Right.
That my mother said you could come home with me this weekend, and it was all about that. And these are things that it's not written down in the story. The history is not in the legacy. Uh, People say to me all the time, "What do y'all talk about?" And I said, it's a conversation that started 40 years ago.
Right.
And we still carrying on the conversation. Yes, our beard's gray, our hair is gone, but we still, in our minds, believe we can get out there and step just as hard, but we have a good time. And we share that and we grow with that and we move on with that. And most of us have stayed in contact with each other throughout the years.
And we remember things like they were yesterday.
That's
They're
right.
just that vivid, that clear.
Right.
We can see everybody. We have our opinions about who you were then and
Right.
who you
Right.
are now.
Right.
Because what you were saying about when you came to school. When I came to Kentucky State, I had this Louisville dialect to follow me
Right.
up to Kentucky State. And I
Uh-huh.
had the nerve to tell my girlfriend from Memphis, Tennessee, Miss Natalie. I said, "Girl, you are so country." She said, "Jesse, you call me country, but you say up here, down there, and over. Lord, you could have stuck me with a knife." I stood there and said, "Oh my God,
Uh-huh.
yes, I do." And
Right.
I made it my business
Right.
not to have lazy speech.
Right. There you go. There you
Okay,
go.
because that's all it was.
Uh-huh.
Like not putting all the right letters in and just doing half a
Pronunciation.
word and
Right.
things of that nature. So when I moved out west, I had changed up my whole vocabulary, my whole way of speech. I tried to lose that dialect.
Uh,
But when I come back to Kentucky, Lord help me, you
right.
know it. When you talk to Louisvillians, you get the same thing. And I'm
Right.
saying, oh, I gotta stop. It's one reason for the podcast. It makes me stay on point with my speech.
Okay. Great.
You
Great.
know what I'm saying? It makes me think about everything that I want to say before I say it, so that I can articulate in the way that makes me sound as intelligent as I think I am.
Right. There you
You know
go.
what I'm saying? So it's like when she said, I said up here, down there, and over, I said, ooh, she ain't lying. I had to hang my head. I was so ashamed. But
Right.
she was right, and it just those types of things that no one had ever said to me before.
Right.
But I
Right.
knew, listening to the kids from Chicago and DC and New York, we got that New York thing, and
That,
I'm saying, oh my goodness, I guess I sound like a hillbilly to them.
right.
And I
Right.
got the nerve to tell my girlfriend from Tennessee that she's country.
Uh-huh.
The nerve of me. It never happened again.
There you go. I understand. I understand.
So, Richard, tell me about what we've got planned this week. Who are we playing for homecoming? Who's playing the game?
Well, the football game is what homecoming is really about. We're playing Allen State University, and that is 2 o'clock Saturday on.
Where is Allen State University?
Uh, Allen State is, I want to say you asked me a good question right there. You give me a minute, I'm gonna tell you where they are.
Okay.
I will remember where they are and give you all the
Okay.
particulars where they
Send,
are.
send that to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I sure will. But they're not. I think I want to say Allen State is coming on the Alabama. This is Tennessee, I believe Allen State is. I'll make sure here. But I
Okay.
believe that's where they are. But they are a college that we always try to, everyone likes to play Kentucky State and Kentucky State's homecoming. Our homecoming this year is planned and poised with several things. There's a breast cancer awareness walk, the
Okay.
things that are very important to the lives of many of our alumni. Um, we've been doing that for the last 3 years. Then we have our Founders Day convocation. That's one of the things that everyone looks to. It will be honoring you and your classmates with your 50-year degree. We have Dr. Karen Townsend. She's our keynote speaker this year.
Okay.
We have it's that's the opening of
That's the
alumni
opening ceremonies, huh?
opening ceremony.
Okay.
And prior to that, though, we do have a couple of events. The students have events. They started this past Sunday, and
Okay.
they start from religious services all the way to, they have concerts tomorrow night. They have the crowning of Miss KSU and Mr. KSU. An HBCU is very rich in its history
Right.
of Mr. and Mrs. KSU. The Miss KSU is so rich. They having their event this year. They're having the reunion. It's called the Thorough Royal Reception, and that will be Friday with all the past queens, and they're going to be in the Welcoming Center.
Okay.
We have what we call a new program because we've been trying for the years to keep our young alums engaged. We have some exceptional young alumni, which I call young, 40 and under, who are
Okay.
doing extraordinary things in their communities. So every year we recognize them. This year is our third year of recognizing the class of 2022, and they get their green jackets with the 40 under 40 society. And these are professionals, lawyers, doctors. We need to start celebrating more. So that happens Thursday. And I said as we go on to Friday, we have a lot of events going on. One thing that we will meet our General Assembly meeting. That's my biggest thing that I always have to pull off. And I report back to the body. The entire body loves. They come in, they express their opinions. We do have a meeting. We try to get in there and get out. The General Assembly meeting is so important because this is the governing body.
Okay.
and we let alums know what we do with their money, why we need more money. We let alums know what's going on in the pipeline, what's going on with our school. This is where we conduct the business of the Alumni Association. So we
Okay.
leave from there. Naturally, we honor our athletes. This year we have, which is every year, the K Club, K Club Hall of Fame, where we honor men and women athletes and coaches for their prior years, for their commitments. There's a class, a Hall of Fame inductee. If you go into the Exum building, you'll see their picture cast on the wall and their picture of their face and the year that they were there as a student athlete. And that's always an honor for our athletes to show their kids and their other students that they mentor. This is what I did. These were my stats uh, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. The history is always there. We have from there the classes and reunion that Friday night. That's going to be a wonderful event with a dinner. We the classes will do their presentation. Uh, Naturally, I give more remarks. The president gives his remarks. We have in the dance, the afterwards, the jazz, couple of jazz shows now. We I gotta plug your show. I'm on your show now because you're gonna be performing, and it's activity that we're all doing. Then we're going from there. Naturally, we got to get rest, and we get up in the morning. There
Right.
is a parade in the city, and the parade, the city celebrates us, and also
It's
that
the same route. Is it just up the highway there
it
from
is not
downtown
is
up to the hill?
downtown, but it does not come back up the hill, but it starts downtown and it goes around the downtown area of Frankfort, across the bridge, down to the state capitol
Okay.
and back out.
Okay.
And and the city loves to see us. The night we're doing something new this year with the city called the Street Fest downtown Frankfort.
Okay.
um, the goal is we're trying to develop more relationships with the city of Frankfurt. So we are the
That's
business
not a bad idea.
right. The businesses are providing free drinks, discounts to buy things from their store, and that's on Friday night from a 6 to 9. So a lot's going on down in that area. There are an activity for all generations this homecoming. I don't
Right.
care what class you were in, where you at, you no one will be left short to say, I cannot have fun with
Right.
my classmate. All you
Right.
have to do is get in where you fit in. And basically, whatever you want to hear, your generation will be doing it. We have the alumni kickback party. There is a day party on Friday night in the Bell Gymnasium. It's a skate party that the Capitals are putting on. We have the Alphas are having a blackout in the Student Center ballroom from 9 to 2 that night. Uh, we have some young alums having a kickback out at the Memories that Friday night. There's no reason that no one cannot enjoy. The good thing about it is we've all come together. Our theme this year for homecoming is Come Home, Reds. We miss you. We are one alumni. And I don't care, every event that we have come together this year, and they all are going to give 20%, a minimum, of their net profits to our past fund to raise money for our students. So we're supporting everyone. So that's why I said we're one alumni, and we want all the thoroughbreds to come on. And we're asking folks that can't make it and want to give to go to our website, and that is www.ksunaa.org.
Here, let me put that on a. Mm. Every time I
Okay.
move this thing, I'm trying to find my so I could make a. I was trying to make a banner. So I can put that on there. I'll get that straight in a second.
Oh,
They can go to www.ksunaa, right?
dot org.
.org.
And on there, you can get all of the homecoming events, all of the schedules. You can even give money. If you decide that you can't make it and you want to give, everything we do this year is a fundraiser. If you look at uh, all of our homecoming events this year, will have a QR code.
Mm-hmm.
And in our QR codes, if you take a picture of it with your camera, you can scan it, go right into there, and you can give to any department that you want. It all comes through the Alumni
Okay.
Association, but you can
Okay.
indicate, I want to give $25. I want it to go to the choir. I want to give $25, but I want it to go to the men's football team or the ladies basketball team. I want it to go to the band, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, wherever you want to go. But it's all about what we do. We
Right.
have to get in a habit. And I say we as African Americans, we have to get into the habit of supporting our own,
Yep.
supporting our school, spending our dollars in our direction. And every ethnic group in the world spend their money 10
Within their community.
Right, 10 to 12 times before one dime gets out of it.
Right.
And except us, we spend our money 180 degrees away from ourselves. And
Yeah.
we have to do this. We have to understand the importance of our numbers. To this day, I can identify over 28,000 alumni graduated from Kentucky State. 19,600 of them are living in the United States. There is another 7, 8,000 living out of the country.
Wow.
And if you go to our website, ksunaa.org, and you just register, you don't even have to pay. I'm trying to get alums to register on there and put their zip code in there so I can tell you where we are.
Okay.
Our numbers are our biggest thing. Our numbers are our fundraisers. Those are the numbers. If we have a lot of us give a little, it keeps from a few of us have to give a lot. And that's how we have to work together to move our Kentucky State University, our beloved alma mater, to the direction that we want it to go. We are not a Tennessee State. We're not a Howard. We're not a Dillard. We're not a Morehouse, but we're not a Fisk. But we are Kentucky State Thoroughbreds,
Yes,
and
sir.
we are proud, and we are who we are, and we will always be who we are. For 136 years is what we're celebrating this year. And when you say that a black organization that stood up in the Jim Crow South, they
Yes, sir.
came from slavery. They came from a civil rights and a voting rights act where we didn't have a right to vote. Our name started out as normal school. Our name started out as the school for the colors. Our names started out as college for Negroes. Our names came to be a college. Then it became a university. And here we are today.
Yes.
Undoubtedly, some of the greatest group of achievers in this world have recognized us and our alumni of Kentucky State University because of what we are today. So I tell people all the time, don't get stuck on what you think we are because you
Mhm.
need to know who we really are. We
You
know
don't
our
know.
history, our legacy. And I'm not going to be shy about it when I talk about Kentucky State University, as I was saying earlier. So homecoming will be homecoming. As you get into that Saturday night after the game, we ask all the alums. We're going to be on campus this year. We have some nice tents. Our tents are custom tents. We have the very nice plush restrooms because we ain't going to some portal toilet. It's going to be decorated to the max. We got
Okay.
heat in the tents. We got a dance floor. There ain't nothing that will stop our show.
I
And
hear
we are
you.
so excited about the alumni village that we're going to have. So when you come into the masquerade ball that night, we want you to enjoy yourselves. We're going to have all the fun, the things. We're going to have the other tent open. We're going to be doing line dancing. Bring your best line dancer, something from everybody. So if you get tired and you don't like this DJ, go in the next tent and catch up with your speed. You will enjoy it. If you want to play some bid whiz, bring your cards in there
Hush,
and you
hush
can
up.
do it. That's right. We're going to have it going on.
And some
So
dirty hearts.
Dirty Hearts, the whole thing. We're gonna do it all. We just want you to sit there and have fun and remember this day that when you were up sitting on the hill, we are the thrill on the hill. We are a property that was put up on a hill 136 years ago and was not supposed to make it. And yet here we are. We done fought off everything that we possibly could. I got the opportunity to testify last year in the General Assembly when I asked the state for some additional revenue to help Kentucky State.
Mhm.
And our narrative is no secret. We have been underfunded from the beginning.
Yes.
But despite the time when they didn't want us to in their integrated schools in the first place,
Didn't want us to succeed.
right. They put us on a hill and told us because in their eyes back then, you couldn't develop land on a hill. But we started off when slaves built our house. We showed the difference. The first class of 55 students graduated from Kentucky State.
Mhm.
And they built a house and they did industrial work and they did farming, the things that made us reproduce and self-producing our own land, our own crops, our own food, how we managed to function. And yet today you look back over us. I am so honored that a few months ago I got to I was in DC with
Mhm.
one of your homegirls from Louisville, Kentucky, Dorothy Bodges. Dorothy Bodges is 105 years old, lived in Washington, D.C., still driving. And she'll drive and you drive if you ride with her. She
Whoa.
goes to church. Her husband died at 100, at 104, and that was about 4 years ago. She worked, she's a Kentucky State alumni, worked for the department. Back then it was called the Department of Army. Today is the Department of Defense. Her job back
Department of what now?
today is called the Department of Defense. Back then it was the Department of Army. And,
Army. Okay.
and her job was to find housing for the white secretaries that they had to go in housing that she couldn't even go into.
Right.
She had to stay in the YMCA while she found these white secretaries in DC, these plush, nice homes. But she worked her way through, and she worked with military personnel. You talk about a hidden figure story. To
Yeah.
this day, when you talk about our alumni, Dorothy Bridges is from Louisville, Kentucky. She's in the class of 1939 and we honor her every year. So I say this to say that this is the luxury that you all have given me to set in and serve as your president. And I don't take this light because I learned the history. I've learned from what my past folks have told me. Richard, this is what we've done. I can go into the class of 72, how y'all were down in the holler and all those things. I'm not gonna talk about
But
that.
look, wait a minute. Down by the creek.
Down by the creek. I know where y'all was sneaking off to. So I done heard all the stories.
I
But
love
now
it.
they done build up the student center over that area. And y'all can't get down there no more.
No, I
And
saw
plus,
that.
that,
I said,
not too
man,
many
you can't even really cross the highway. We used to go through a tunnel to go
yeah,
under the highway.
right. Well, the tunnel is still there. You can still get in the tunnel, but now
Okay.
they made us a walkway across with lights on and security to make it a little bit more safe with
Okay.
an elevator in there. And these are things that, like I say, our history, our legacy, our alumni, our past college presidents, our past college professors, and today, to the students today that are graduating from Kentucky State, They are serving in the military. They are serving as attorneys. They are serving as doctors. They are educators. They are service people. They're working in Hollywood. They're working in Walmart. They are productive citizens. Why? Because everything they picked up from Kentucky State, they enjoy. So I say this to everybody: come home. Come home, Breads. We miss you. And we
Come
need you
home,
there.
Kentucky, come home. You know, I was a cheerleader.
There you go. There you go. See?
Wow. I'm going to tell you, Richard, you have just enlightened my spirit. Just
Thank you.
knowing that you have learned as much about our school, is that I can tell how close and near and dear it is to you because of what you're able to share with us today. And I mean, I haven't had this much time to talk to a national president, but I am just I'm very proud to have you represent us.
Thank you. Thank you. I
And
appreciate
I'm
that.
sure that when you went before that state legislature, I know that when you left, they had dropped jaws were hitting the floor. They was,
Thank
where
you.
did that brother come from?
We were able to walk away with $38 million last year. And that's House Bill 250. And
Don't
yes,
do it.
we have some challenges at
Yeah,
Kentucky State,
yeah.
but we cannot give up on Kentucky State.
No.
The narrative is very clear. They have underfunded us for years, and we're still working on that. The fight is not over,
Yeah.
but we have to take it. We had to come back and live to fight another day. We can point fingers, but I'm not one that. First of all, I'm not going to point, and I'm not one that promotes what I call black on black crime. So I'm not going to start pointing at, well, this president did that. This president. You don't understand what leaders have to carry and the fights that they have to do. If you look at the history of Kentucky State and understand what every president had to go through
Mm-hmm.
just to keep the doors open,
Doors open.
just to keep students constantly educated,
Right.
just to deal with so many things that you have to, that is not normal in some of our other institutions in the state of Kentucky. You would give them a pass just on that state alone. So I thank all of the legislators that supported us. I think particularly our Black legislators, they did an excellent job. Senator Neal, Senator Thomas, you know, Derek Graham, and all of our other few. We had about 9 African American, Representative Brown. They were on that floor and we were lobbying, and our alumni did an excellent job. We galvanized, they called, they sent messages, they wrote letters. Matter of fact, one day I got a call from the LRC, the Legislative Research Commission's office. I was in
Mm-hmm.
Gary, Indiana, and they said, Mr. Grace, can you please, we appreciate your advocacy, but can you please tell your alums they're jamming up all the phones here? Because those folks started calling, and they were calling so much because their commitment.
Yeah,
So
we
I
want our
understand,
doors open.
right.
We want them to
And,
stay open.
and this is
We
not
want the
just.
support we're supposed to get.
That's exactly. And it's the love that we all have for Kentucky State. So I take it as an honor and a privilege to be service president. I don't take it light. This is my last term. I have one more homecoming for you all. This will be my first year, my third term. Um, and but I appreciate it. I have lost all the hair, grayed my beard, but I get up and God has blessed me to stand fight and stand tall and represent, and that's what we will always do. And that is what this is all about. It's not a popularity contest. Someone think, oh, I want to be president. Well, I want everyone to be president. I want everyone to be leaders, but our school, Kentucky State, needs every alum to step up. and all of our friends and all of our side supporters, all of the people that do business with Kentucky State, you need to be the first ones in line saying, here, let me give $1 back because we have $3 million contracts with you all. All these things that you do, it needs to come back. So I
Right.
say this to say that
They
our
need
hope,
to they need to be reciprocal.
reciprocal, that's the word, reciprocal. And by the way, Allen State is in South Carolina. It finally came to me. Thank you.
All right.
So, but I want you to know that we are the school is the school, but homecoming is homecoming. This is a time for us to come back, celebrate fellowship, rekindle relationships, meet, greet, and keep it moving and just enjoy yourselves. It's a blessing to see the people. It's sadness. We light a candle for all of our alums that are not with us because they are with us in our hearts. They are with us in our prayers. Their families are with
Right.
us. And I don't take any moment for granted. And so I want every alum to know that we appreciate them. And whether they agree with everything that I do or you do or anyone else do, we are alumni and we come back as a family and we are one and we
And
will
we all
stand
love Kentucky
united.
State.
And we all love Kentucky State.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Mr. Richard Graves, I applaud you. I thank you for your time because you did not hesitate to come on this show with me. And I know you're busy. I know you're ambidextrous with a cell phone. You
There-
know, you might have two or three of them.
uh,
But I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate everything that you've shared with the audience, so they can know those that didn't know anything about Kentucky State, and even the one thing about this year, our class in reunion, we are the last class to go to Kentucky State College, to
wow,
graduate
that's right.
from
That's right.
Kentucky State
That's right.
College.
That's right.
Okay. So we carry that as a badge of honor,
That's true. That is true.
because when I had a choice to go, uh, I was an athlete,
Uh-huh.
so I had a scholarship. I won a beauty contest. I don't even know how they got
I
in the
can see
whole deal,
that.
but I had a choice to go to Knoxville College. I wanted to be a Tiger Bell and go to Tennessee A&I
Uh-huh.
when it was A&I.
Right, right.
Because I wanted to be like Wilma.
Okay.
And then I had Kentucky State. Well, my brother had gone to Kentucky State, and I had come up one homecoming. I think I might have been 16, 17, and stayed with one of my relatives and gone to a homecoming and a dance and
Uh-huh.
everything. So I was like, well, I want to go to Tennessee A&I, but a little young lady smoked me in the Mason Dixon games, and I lost. So I decided then, I really don't play games that I can't win very well.
There you go.
So I left track and field alone, and I came to Kentucky State, and the rest for me is that gave me the foundation that I needed to deal with the world, because I've been all over the world.
Right.
And
Good.
I know that if I can go all over the world from going to Kentucky State, anybody else can too. It's
That's
open.
right. That's true.
It's open. That
That's
what they
true.
say, the world is your oyster.
That's it.
Oh, come on now.
There you go.
Well, I thank you so much for your time. You just have no idea. You have just inspired me to do better. Okay.
Thank you. I
You've
appreciate
inspired
you.
me to do better as an alumni. And I will do better. And that's a promise I'll make to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you and I
You know,
appreciate all your guests and thanks for having me.
all right. Well, it's dinner time, Richard. Go have your
All right.
dinner, darling.
I sure will.
And I'll see you maybe Thursday, Friday
That's
for
right.
sure.
I will definitely be there.
All right, darling. Have a
All right.
blessed evening. All right. Mr. Richard Graves, National President of Kentucky State University. If you didn't know how tough we were, you better ask somebody. And you better ask Mr. Graves, because he can hold you up for a minute and let you know about the school up on the hill. All right. Well, one of the things that he was mentioning, along with all the activities that are be happening at Kentucky State, this week. I will be in concert on Friday evening at 10 o'clock at Capitol Plaza. Tickets are $40. You can go on Facebook or Jantastic Productions, and I've got a Cash App. And I got time that I need to just kind of put that on up here so you can see exactly where you spend your money. But before I move from that, that is the address for the Kentucky State Alumni Association, www.ksunaa.org. That's where you go online. He wants you to register. So if you are an alumni and you haven't been involved and you know you need to get involved, then go on there and sign up and register so we can keep up with you, so we can enhance and enlarge our territory. Okay. So, and I'm going to give you my PayPal. And the first 50 people, because the room is not a large room, it's going to be a very intimate setting. The first 50 people will be afforded VIP seating. And like I said, the seating is limited, and it is at the Capitol Plaza. That is probably the only event this year that will be at Capitol Plaza. Everything else was booked. I'm producing this, or my production company, Jantastic Productions. That's what this will be. It will be a Jantastic production. I will have a jazz trio. We will have a few little surprises for everyone that attends, for all the alumni, and it's open. It's not just open to Kentucky State. Where's my ticker tape going? Okay, scroll. Not just for Kentucky State alumni, or not just for the class, the 50th class, but anyone that wants to come and see me perform. I'd love to have you. You can get your tickets, PayPal and Cash App. Cash App is $Jantastic. Let's see, 50. Since it's my 50th, it's my Jantastic 50. I usually come on Fridays, but I won't be on this Friday because I'll be getting ready to perform. And okay. So now this banner is supposed to be moving. Okay. Hold on. This. All right. There we go. So until Monday, we're going to have basketball great Mr. Philip Bond, who's also one of the executives at Metro United Way. Philip is going to come on. Guess who's coming to dinner on Monday? That will be Monday, October 17th. And he will be our guest. So don't miss Philip. Philip's a feather in our cap in Louisville about young men that were basketball stars that went on to do wonderful things for the community and serve and uplift everything about Louisville, Kentucky. So we'll see you on Monday. I'll be having a blast on Friday. And once again, I thank Mr. Richard Graves for joining us today. That was a very exciting and enlightening show for me. I needed a little boost today. And I'm going to end on that note and say, guess who's coming to dinner? Bon appetit, it's dinner time. I will see you on Monday. Take care. Ciao.